Hello again, everyone. Today I have decided to convert a clear Kaweco into an eyedropper pen. Now, I have never done this before, and so this will be the first time I'm doing that on camera with you all, but it should be fairly easy. Basically, these are the tools that you need. You need a silicone grease. This I purchased off of Amazon. I'll put a link below. But if you have a TWSBI pen, for example, it actually comes with some silicone grease. I would say you probably could use that. This, I think, is a little bit heavier than that. I just did a little Googling and found this one, and I just wanted to make sure that the seal would be as good as it can be so that the ink doesn't run out. So I have a pipette for putting ink into the pen once I have opened it all up and all that, and I'll show you all of that. And then you need some ink to fill it with. So I have decided today that I'm doing this Ink Institute Jade Fine ink, which I'm going to put in here. It's a really beautiful ink, and I thought it just might look really pretty inside this clear pen. So any plastic bodied pen, as far as I know, could be converted into a eyedropper pen. So let's see. So I have to make sure that I am actually using the correct threads. So as you can see, when I'm closing it and opening it, it's this thread here that is attached to the cap, but it's actually this portion here which is sealing this. So these are the threads that I want to put the silicone grease on, because once I close that up, that is what will form the seal there. And if you don't use silicone grease, there's a high likelihood that you will have leakage. So so I wouldn't recommend just doing it unless there is some sort of gasket here. Some pens that are designed to be eyedropper pens have little gaskets here, like a rubber gasket, that essentially provides the seal so that the ink doesn't come out. So, like I said, this should be fairly quick and easy. I have a paper towel here, which I am going to put everything on top of while I am doing this, just in case. And then I am going to go ahead and open this up, and I'm just going to use my finger. But as you can see, it's just, you know, almost clear silicone grease, and I'm just going to put a little bit on my finger here and then put it on those threads right here. I'm going to try not to get it inside here because I don't want it to gunk up the inking system. Oh, and it is very, very sticky. So just FYI. All right, so I have a little bit on my finger here, and like I said, I'm going to try and avoid the inside. So I'm just going to get it all the way around and make sure it's pretty well seated into those threads there. And then I'm going to wipe my finger off. And what I'm actually going to do, I think I'm going to get a little bit of the excess off here, but I'm not going to do too much. I tried not to get a ton on my fingers, and I hope that that is actually a decent amount. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as is while I fill this with this ink. So I'm going to close my silicone grease here, and this amount of silicone grease will probably last me forever. I mean, I'm only going to need a little bit at a time. And let's see, make sure that, yeah, so I'm just taking a look here kind of closely to make sure that it's down in the threads. Once it gets screwed on, it will, you know, seat a little bit better into the threads because that's its purpose. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this ink, and I need to hold the bottom part upright here so that I can fill it. And so I'm just going to I'm going to push the air out of the pipette, put it in the bottle, and then soak it up into that pipette. And I don't want to go too far up. I'm just going to go up to the bottom threads here, or a little bit below the bottom threads, I should say, because if we go much further than that, and as you can see, there's already some ink that is in the threads, and I wanted to try and avoid that as much as possible. I probably should have. And you can't see the way the angle is here. So I'm going to put that down, and now, okay, so I'm going to seat this in here, and it's definitely, there's definitely more of a grip than before. And I think that is that. There you go. I mean, it seems to be working pretty well. If it wasn't working, I would see a lot of ink up in this part here. The ink that is there is really just leftover residue from me filling it. So as long as you're not seeing any ink going up in there, I think you're okay. And then I'm going to turn this upside down. Let's see, I'm going to close this ink so that the ink will move down into the feed here. Okay, I'm also going to get a little bit of this. Let me put that to the side there. I have another paper towel over there. I'm also going to wipe this area a little bit in case there's any extra silicone grease. And it really does seem to be working because, like I said, I don't see any leakage here in this area around here. So let's see, I'm just going to, this might take a little bit for the ink to get down into the feed and into the nib. Hopefully it won't take too long. And, you know, this is how you would post it. And when you see it closed, it's kind of fun because you can kind of see it sloshing around in there, but this really is a very beautiful ink. It looks much darker. Well, I guess if this is a clear jar, it doesn't look much darker than it does in the bottle, but it looks darker as ink than it does on the paper. So this is a very fun experiment. So I'm going to open that up. And again, still no leakage, so I think we're doing good. I'll probably keep an eye on that to make sure that it is not leaking down in there. I have some Tomoe River paper off to the side here. I'm going to go ahead and post this because it's easier to write with the Kaweco posted. Let's see, it still doesn't seem to be coming down into the feed. Normally what I would do if this was happening with just a regular ink cartridge or something like that, I probably would squeeze it a little bit to get it down in there, but you can't do that obviously if you're making your pen an eyedropper pen. Okay, let's go ahead and use a page that I've already used on the top. Okay, it's still not going down into the feed. And I was really careful not to get any silicone into the feed area because that really would not be good because you could potentially be blocking your ink from going down into the feed. Let's see. And sometimes dipping it into water might make it go a little faster. So I have some water off here to the side. Make sure I don't get that pipette everywhere with the ink still on it. So I have some water here off to the side. I'm just going to, oh, yep, I can see that the ink is actually down into the feed. So sometimes dipping it makes it go a little faster. And I have not used this, I'm doing it again here off camera. I have not used this particular ink in any pens yet, so I don't know if there's going to be any issues using this ink in this pen. So I think we're almost there. You can see just a faint line there. And once it really starts getting into the feed, it should get darker. And this is a lighter ink, so how dark it may get, I do not know, but this is still pretty watered out. As you can see, it's gradually getting darker. Oh, and it's starting to flow much smoother now. And it's definitely darker. This is a medium nib on this Kaweco. Yeah, and I think that, so this is a Kaweco, oops, I'm always spelling Kaweco with a K. Let me try that again. Kaweco Sport Clear with a medium nib. Yep, it's getting darker as we write. And then this ink, which I will put way down here, is the, what's the Ink Institute? Jade Fine. And I think we're still getting darker here. I think if I let it sit for a little while, it'll probably truly saturate into that feed a little bit more. Let me go ahead and show you that there. But that's pretty good. So it's definitely flowing into there. Like I said, I'm not seeing any leakage in here. This little bit of smear of ink was from me filling the actual area with the pipette. So there you go. That's sort of a quick and dirty lesson on how to eyedropper a pen. And there you go. All right, I think that's all I had for you today. So feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. And I'm gonna try and keep posting, you know, some little fast I was gonna say self-help. Some handy videos like this on how to do little things like this. This just seemed like I had this in my queue to convert this pen, and it seemed like a good one to just go ahead and do on camera for you all. All right, and actually, let me open this one more time. See how, yep, it continues to get darker. Okay. And like I said, I'm probably going to store that upside down for just a little while so that the ink will really prime that feed really well. And there you go. All right. Well, take care. I hope to see you next time. And in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.